24 of the Standard. This is Choice 2017, and the headline here is "It's my time to eat," says a top witch doctor. And this is an interesting one. His name is Quick Kinyamasyo. This is a witch doctor in Kitui County. He says he's been practicing witchcraft for 20 years, and that during elective season, or the election period rather, business is a lot better because politicians are flocking to him to ensure that they can retain their seats, or aspirants flocking to him to ensure that they can win their seats. And I want to put this together with the issue of buying votes, which is also on the Standard this morning, and how effective vote buying really is in securing the final vote at the electorate. Let's begin with you, Francis. All this will of going to the witch doctors and buying votes, where does it stop with politicians?
Well, it basically shows how naive we are. We call ourselves 80-90% Christians. Mm-hmm. And of course, even the 10 remaining, you have other, our brothers and sisters from other religions. So, I mean, it amounts to the same thing I said, that we need to make these punishments scary. We need to make them scary. Even in religious institutions, mm-hmm. if you go to a certain religious platform and they get to know that you go to witch doctors, or the occults or wherever you go, to be able to, influence who you are to become in life, that is a person who should not be given space in society. Mm-hmm. At all. And it's illegal to practice witchcraft. So I wonder why that man is not in by now. Mm-hmm. Because he should have been put in, although perhaps the people to put him in will fear being bewitched. So it is a circus of the whole thing. But it's unfortunate, it's happening, as you have rightly said. They say in Mombasa, wherever these destinations of witchcraft, they are getting booming business during campaign seasons. Mm-hmm. But it's also the high time, for Kenyans. And they take the lesos, the kangas. These are the same things that Kenyans are brought and they tie. And my understanding is that when you tie them, around your waist, on your head, they influence your thinking and all these kind of things. Right. And witchcraft is real, by the way, but it is not the superpower. Mm-hmm. If people want to trust God, they can actually trust God to overcome those kind of powers. But if you don't, they will influence you. They will take your money, they take that money to the witch guys. Mm-hmm. They will administer their witch to that money, and they will come and give you the money. So it's upon Kenyans to determine, are we going to take this money for tomorrow only, or are we going to take the good leadership that we want for posterity? Mm-hmm. And I think it is upon every Kenyans to think. We are producing 60,000 graduates every year plus. Every year. Yet, the companies that have been employing Kenyans have remained the same for the last 30 years. Mm-hmm. Instead, actually, some of them have closed up. So it's upon Kenyans to think of a leadership transition that is able to be innovative and creative, expand opportunities for this country. Mm-hmm. Leave people's money aside, because their money is their money. And even if you use the criteria of who has money to elect, that money will never turn out to be yours. Right. So you better be focused. You better admit, like what Caroline said, you admit your status, and then you focus forward, but do not exchange. Don't sell your birthright with things that are not long-lasting. And voter bribery, it's there. But what saddens me is the fact that there is a giver and there is a recipient mm-hmm. of that money. Mm-hmm. And somebody is willing to take 200 shillings and sell that vote without knowing that vote, in retrospect to the leader to be elected, determines the future of your kid. Mm-hmm. So the moment you have taken the 200 and used it to determine who to vote for, you are basically selling the birthright of your kid. Right, and the issue here is that we have the giver and we have the recipient. This is what we're talking about, Caroline. In terms of voter bribery, you're running for the Kajiado Senate seat, and it's almost public perception now that you cannot run for a political seat without bribing your voters. Is this what's happening in Kajiado?
First of all, what I'd like to say is that as a nation, we need to invest in civic and voter education, especially at the grassroots level. A lot of the people, for instance, in my area, Kajiado, the top people will campaign with choppers, and especially when they hear you're vying for Senate, they believe that you actually must have a lot of money. What I'd like to tell my people in Kajiado and Kenya at large, the minute that I spend a lot of money, there is no Kenyan who has got monopoly for so much money to do campaigns. They have gotten that money through some way, some deal, some loan. There is a way that they've gotten access to such large huge amounts of money. And immediately they enter office, they must pay their loans that they've gotten that money. They must pay their debtors, their debt. They must be able to pay back the deals that they have done. And that way, for the first 2-3 years, you will not see the person who you voted in because they are busy trying to replace or to repay back the money. So the minute campaign money goes so quickly. You think you've collected 100 shillings, but if I was to give 100 shillings to all my 400,000 voters, I have spent hundreds of millions. And when I enter office, I must pay back that money. And that is why you see service delivery in our counties is so low. Because if I bought your vote, then I don't owe you anything. So people must understand that you must put in leaders based on their past experience, not their new manifesto, what it is they've done what it is that they have done in your community, the heart for humanity, the heart for the people, and the vision that they have for people, especially young people. Young people in this nation are not a constituency. Whenever you see, for instance, politicians wanting to reach out to people, they'll reach out to Maendeleo Wanawake because, women are kind of united, but the youth are not united. They give the voter to the highest bidder. And until the young people of this nation wake up and stop selling their votes, then when these leaders enter into place, then maybe we'll begin seeing the innovation, the job creation, because these leaders will actually give service delivery and not sell their vote.
Right. And